Hi there everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about those little tools around the workshop which make your life a lot easier and quite often the quality of your work a lot better. They don't cost very much, but not having them you can really lose out. Stay tuned to the end where I'll give you another big tip that a lot of people overlook. Welcome to With the Grain. This is the show about honest woodworking, videos which contain mistakes and then the solutions on how to fix them. So let's get going. So what tools are we going to look at today? This one obviously is a clamp. These are incredibly useful and very versatile. Now there are two types of these clamps. This one is the cheap one. There is a slightly more expensive version which has a removable end. And if you take this off, this part of the clamp will turn around and then it becomes a spreader as well as a clamp, which means you can hold things apart as well. They're not expensive. There are lots of different sizes of them. You'll see them in a lot of videos as well. Uses for these, it isn't just clamping things when you're gluing them. You can use them on table saws to hold stop blocks. You can do all sorts of things with them. So this is a speed square, not a framing square, which a lot of people call them. The framing squares are the really big ones. Now it may seem obvious what this is for, but it has an awful lot of uses which you might not have realised. So obviously you can do your lines and you can transfer marks across sides. These have a lot of marks and things in them which may or may not be obvious as to what they are. Most of them are not obvious. A lot of marks on here with regards to roof rafters, and that's what the figures are on this side. Now I'm not going to explain those, partly because I have no idea how they work because they're like a black magic. Also there are some pretty good videos already on these and how they work, so I suggest you have a look for some of those. The other thing that people don't seem to realise is this is actually a protractor as well, and you can measure angles with it. You put the pivot point on the end, and you can see it says pivot in here, and literally get it straight on the bottom and then read off 35 degrees, which is here, you see. So if you wanted a 45 degrees, you can mark it there. If you want a 65 degrees, you can make a mark there. 75 degrees, you can make a mark there. And then whatever line you draw between there and there is that angle. If you've got a cut that's coming down like this, you can then also measure the angle of the cut in the same way. This brings me on nicely to this tool, which is a bevel gauge, but it has more than one function, which a lot of people don't realise. If you loosen this knob off, this metal rule will slide like this, and you can use this to measure depth. So if you had this as a cut, you can put this down like that, tighten it up, and then you can then transfer it to anywhere you like. Maybe the table saw blade height, it might be the router bit height, it could be the depth to do a dado cut for, a million other things. These are very, very cheap. They may be about £7 each, no more than that. I use this one a lot on the lathe to check the depths of bowls. So I'll have it on the edge, measure how far in I want to go. So I'll make sure I don't go through the bottom, tighten it off, and then when I do this on the edge of the bowl, I can then see how far in I've gone and how much further I've got to go. This is a set of dividers or compasses. Some of them have pencils on them. This one just has two spiky ends. You can get other ones with rounded ends and all sorts of other configurations. Bent ends to measure width. If you don't have a pair of calipers like this to measure a width of something to transfer it onto something else, then you can use a pair of these. A lot of people use them for separating distances on dovetails. They can plan out tail locations. Oh, look at that. So thank you for staying to the end. As promised, my final tip, which a lot of people don't realise and actually people comment on quite a bit to me. If you need a tool and you don't have it, see if you can make it before you go and buy one. If you've got a decent set of tools in your shop, then you should be able to make pretty much anything. Anything from something simple like this, which is a piece of wood with some holes in it, and this is designed for a bigger pencil, and this is just for drawing radiuses on things. This is a stop block that I use on my table saw, so I can put this up against the fence and then clamp it on like so. And then I put this up here and it stops it from moving. Now you can use a small block of wood, that's fine, but I find that if I'm cutting big pieces, I like to have the length of this to hold it in place, having made sure obviously that this is perfectly square. I needed a mallet, so I made a mallet. This is a mallet I made not long ago. It's got an oak head and it's got an ash handle with a little oak knobble on the bottom because I wanted to practice bonding two pieces of wood together and putting them in the lathe to see how it came out. I was able to make it exactly the size I wanted, and it's brilliant and it's nice to use because it's something that I made. And on that note, the whole workshop I also made. This workbench I made, the cabinetry I made, you can probably tell by that one because it's horrible. I need to do the drawer fronts for it. All in all, it's very useful. If you like this video and you found value from it, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to see all the latest videos as they come out. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time.